For the first 2 years of her prime ministership, Julia Gillard endured countless sexist slurs and smears in silence.
Her father died of shame comment from Alan Jones, or that she should be put in a chaff bag and thrown out to sea.
It's the witch! It's the witch! Liar, liar! Pants on fire!
But on October 9, 2012, then opposition leader Tony Abbott sought to score political points over a sexism scandal, and Gillard decided enough was enough.
I say to the Leader of the Opposition, I will not be lectured about sexism and misogyny by this man. I will not. And the government will not be lectured about sexism and misogyny by this man. Not now, not ever.
Over 15 blistering minutes, Gillard picked apart Abbott's hypocrisy and double standards.
If he wants to know what misogyny looks like in modern Australia, he doesn't need a motion in the House of Representatives, he needs a mirror.
Her words reverberated throughout Australian politics, media and right around the world.
I just don't think there's a place for sexism in our politics.
The misogyny speech has since passed into folklore, stitched, shouted and set to music.
I will not be lectured about sexism and misogyny by this man.
Not ever.
It's also graced tea towels, tattoos and TikToks.
I will not be lectured about sexism and misogyny by this man.
I will not.
So many TikToks.
I will not be lectured about sexism and misogyny by this man. I will not.
Julia Gillard's speech was a call to everybody to say we will not put up with this, that we are going to stand against it, and that we are going to be who we are in politics, no matter who you are. And that is the legacy. That is what people still talk about.
The Leader of the Opposition should think seriously about the role of women in public life and in Australian society, because we are entitled to a better standard than this.
So, 10 years on, how much further do we have to go?
Well, let's ask the TikTok superstar herself. Would you please welcome Julia Gillard?
Thank you.
Julia, obviously, congratulations on the book, but 10 years, it must be so great for you to see that misogyny is now fixed.
If only, Hamish. Misogyny's not fixed. There's more to do. But I do think some things have changed, and the very fact that we're having this conversation, that so many people have been out there with the misogyny speech, means that we're shining a light on it all. And we've got to do that because human beings change things by talking about them. And, of course, I did want to mark the moment with a book, Not Now, Not Ever, which tells the story of the speech but also takes us forward. What more do we need to do to end misogyny? So it includes the voices of young women who are trying to teach us precisely that.
You've always been so inclusive, Julia, and we applaud you for that. But so much has been said and written and dissected about this speech. But in the book, you said it actually almost never happened. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, it almost never happened. I'd always thought that I remembered every moment of that day because it was obviously a big one and I'd been asked about it so many times. But when I was putting the Not Now, Not Ever book together, I consulted my then Chief of Staff, Ben Hubbard, who reminded me that when Tony Abbott leapt to his feet to speak to the motion, I wandered over to the advisors' box and said to Ben and the other advisors there, I'm going to take the reply. And Ben said, oh, really? Are you going to do that? Because normally I kind of held myself above these day-to-day political tactics, and I sort of thought about it, considered not doing it, and then decided I would because I was sick of all the, and there was another word, but I'll use the word nonsense, sick of all the nonsense.
Oh, go on, use the real word.
I'll get beeped. I don't want to get beeped on TV.
Well, apparently the track got an airing in Obama's White House, and whenever they got frustrated with Tony Abbott, which apparently was quite a bit, and it's used as a general G-up track. Like, how did you first become aware of that?
Well, I really had no sense giving the speech that it would have any form of afterlife. I mean, I knew it was powerful in the Parliament, and then by the time I'd walked from the parliamentary chamber back to my office, people were already emailing in and writing in and, you know, all of the rest of it, phoning. And I think the first time I really got a sense, though, personally, that this was reverberating in a big way was not that long after the misogyny speech. I went to India as Prime Minister, and an Indian policewoman turned to me and said, "Great speech." And I really remember that moment because I remember thinking, wow, this isn't just, you know, going through media in various parts of the world. It's actually being noted by women around the world, and that gave me a sense that maybe it was going to be there for a lot longer than I'd first imagined.
We played that bit in the peroration where you say, we are entitled to better. It's 10 years on now, Julia. What has changed? What are we doing better now?
I think what we're doing better is naming and shaming when we see sexism and misogyny. I think it's impossible to imagine that a woman in Parliament today could be called the things that I was without there being an uproar and political consequences. So we're definitely naming and shaming. I think women's voices, women's issues are much more shaping of federal politics. I think, in fact, that's the story of the May election campaign, and that's all to the good. I think women are prepared to get together and support each other, rally in support of each other. We've seen that in Australia. But there's still a lot of things we do have to change. We know that violence against women, domestic violence, gendered barriers in careers, when you look at the top of the pyramids in our society, whether it's politics or business, you still disproportionately see male faces. So more to do. And social media, of course, presents its own challenges.
Julia, since leaving politics, you've gained a lot of credit for being the best kind of ex-Prime Minister. Dignity, humility, grace, not engaging in the daily political cycle. Have you ever got the call up from Malcolm or Kevin or Tony asking exactly how you do that?
I'm not running a training course, no. If it was a potential to be a further fundraiser for the Global Institute for Women's Leadership, I might put my mind to it. Right now, I'll just stick with the book.
You know how much they love taking advice, though?
Yeah, good point.
Julia, obviously the book is out now. You've included all of these other young voices. Do you feel like the baton has been taken up? Obviously the Teals have made waves, but do you see that others have taken up where you left off?
Well, I've just turned 61. The misogyny speech is 10 years ago. I am making it compulsory to say you don't look a day older. And I think I've got a few good years in me yet, rattling for change and advocating for change. But the next generation coming forward, I think, does need to take the baton. And I think that there are young women who don't want to just take it, they want to seize it and they want to run with it. This is a really powerful generation that's coming up. So anything that I can do to help give prominence to that up-and-coming generation and to know when I'm done, there's that army that's ready to go, I think that gives me a lot of joy and a lot of energy, and that's really what all of this around the 10 years is about for me.
Well, the book is called... You want to do it?
Oh, well, I was going to do the hand-holding thing. Julia Gillard's new book, Not Now, Not Ever, is out now. Very well done, Adam. Thank you for that.
Would you please thank Julia Gillard?
Thank you.